Hello and welcome back to the Listening to Your Gut podcast. I have never done this before. And by that, I mean, I have never had not one, not two, not three, but four guests on the podcast. Holy crap. And these are the four best guests that I could ever possibly imagine to have all together at one friggin' time. I adore these women and they know that. And every time I get to spend time with them virtually is just the light of my day. Uh, you are going to want to be best friends with these women after listening to this podcast. And I feel like I'm setting us up for probably more of this to come in the future. So, just buckle up because we're probably going to be back at it again, all five of us here in the near future. But I am going to introduce my friends to you today. So I have at the top of my screen, this may not be their top of the screen. I have at the top of my screen to my left, I have Dr. Megan Hurley Powell. Then I have underneath me to my left, I have Megan Cartwright. Then to my bottom right, I have Sam Verga. And to my top, she's making a face. And to my top right, I have my awesome friend, Aubrey Fitzner. So welcome, ladies, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Woo! Woo! So we are here today. You're probably like, well, okay, what are they doing here today? What's our intent? What's our purpose? Well, hopefully if you read the podcast title, that'd be like first things first. Hello. That's what you need to be looking at. But we're going to be talking about the summit, the Health and Wellness Summit that I just recently created and put forth into the world. And we recently came together as book club besties because that's one of the ways we know each other and have formed this friendship. We felt it would be a good idea for us to all come together and share our thoughts on the event. In hopes that if you weren't able to attend, that maybe this causes you to have a little bit of FOMO and hopefully you'll come join us next year. So we're gonna share out, everybody's gonna share out their thoughts to some questions that I have, including myself. And yeah, my hope would be that after listening to this podcast episode that you reach out to me with any thoughts or questions you have on the event, as well as reach out to these incredible ladies too, because again, their testimonials are just as good as mine, if not probably better, because I'm the one who hosted it. They're the ones who attended and were part of it, so they can give you a different perspective. But I would first like to start off with us really diving into this question that was sparked by one of the speakers. So my friend Val, she asked us to describe ourselves in 6 words. And so we're not going to do 6 words, but I would love for each of us to share in 1 word, if possible. What one word would you use to describe the event if you could just encapsulate it into one thing, and maybe just give us a little bit of insight into why you chose that word? And Megan Hurley Powell, I'm going to come to you last, so you have time. But whoever wants to share, if you got it, I feel like maybe Aubrey has hers. She's ready to go, so we'll let Aubrey go. Go ahead.
So the word that I would choose for this event would be intentional. I feel like not only did you intentionally select women who you felt would speak to something that each of us that were attending would be struggling with, or something that we're personally working through right now on our own. And I don't feel like any of the speakers then overlapped their messaging because of that, because you were so intentional about who you selected for this event. And I also felt like with the special boxes that Sam was so lovely to put together for all of us, that all the speakers having to intentionally select something that would jog our memory and bring us back to the speeches that were given by these people that chose to speak at your event. I thought that that was just so intentional from start to finish.
I agree. I love that. Yeah. And again, props to Sam. We'll chat with Sam about the box too, as well, as part of this conversation. But that box, I keep saying, is like, I personally feel one of the big difference makers in this event as to how it stands out from being uniquely its own, when it's intermixed with all the other virtual events that are out there. So I owe Sam all the props to that, because that was her idea that she birthed. So yay. I love that. But Sam,
You
tell us.
actually, you stole my word as you were talking about it. I was like,
Oh,
my word is unique
okay.
or different. And kind of piggybacking off of what um, Aubrey had said, it was like, well, you picked speakers that were unique to their niche, right? But then also the format in which you created this event, doing it virtually, and it's only 2.5 hours every day for Saturday and Sunday. That was unique. That was different than what anybody I've ever attended a virtual event. And then it wasn't people who were in the limelight or like super well known, but their impact was just as great as it was someone who we've heard their story over and over again. And so that's what I really enjoyed about this being so unique. And then the box, of course, and we'll talk more about that later, but like that was another component of making it unique. And I loved like how different it was versus me attending other virtual events, and even in-person events. Like it really allowed for anybody to come at any point there are in their journey.
I love that. Yeah, unique is definitely a great word, I feel too, to describe the event. Oh, okay. Yes.
See,
Yes.
I know I'm supposed to go last, but Sam stole my word. So I feel like it's perfect time for me to jump in. But luckily for her, I am a word nerd. So I actually wrote down 2 words. So I'm going to share my other word. My other word is very in line with unique, but it's fresh. Like for me as an attendee, I was exposed to completely new experiences. I had never done a sound bath before. That was a completely new experience for me. That was really, really fresh. Also, as other people have mentioned too, totally new speakers, which was awesome. I think in the personal development space, like it's great to hear a couple of big speakers a couple of times, but like, I mean, really, it's awesome to hear new voices, fresh experiences, just a completely different lineup of speakers. So that was really awesome for me. And it was a bunch of new information, right? This wasn't just strictly a personal development event. This was also about wellness, right? So the new information was also really fresh. And then having again Sam's boxes, right? That was really fresh and new and unique. So that's my word.
I love that. Yeah, fresh. Okay, Megan Cartwright.
Well, luckily none of you stole my word. So, but it is similar along the same lines. My word that came to mind was authentic.
Oh.
And the reason I thought of that was you can tell, like even just listening to the speakers, that they are speaking from the heart. They are sharing their like unique journey. They're sharing, it's not just coming on and telling, here's the 5 steps you need to do to solve all the problems in your life. They're sharing their unique journey and their authentic selves and how they have transformed their own life. And then you can see that in them. But at the same time, one of their messages is you have to do what's right for you. So like I've heard that from a couple speakers already, is that and disclaimer for those of you listening, I have not actually attended the entire event yet because of the authentic and magical way that this event was held. Is it was virtual, and unfortunately I wasn't able to attend live, but I've had access to the recordings. So I'm slowly making my way through it, but already I'm seeing through the speakers that I have listened to and watched just how authentically they care about those of us who are participating. They obviously have a very natural and authentic relationship with you, Kelly, which I think again is, to piggyback on others' words, is so unique and fresh from other personal development events and so on, and workshops and books and so on that I've participated in the past. And they're also challenging us to take authentic action that fits with us going forward. So I'm excited for the, again, authentic growth that I think is going to come from this. It's not just a one size fits all type of thing. So excited for that.
I agree. And I love, Megan Cartwright, that you, like, we talked about this before we started recording. I love that anyone can access this, and to your point, you weren't able to make it live, and there were it wasn't just you, there were several people who weren't able to make it live, and they're watching it back in their own time at their own pace. And that's also the beauty of this event. If you were in an in-person event, it's like, oh well, I missed the flight, or I missed it completely. There is no replay of that, right? But the beauty of this virtual event is it's your own time and pace. So yeah, I love that. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I guess I would say I keep going back and forth between two words. One, like, unbelievable, in the sense of, like, I can't believe that, one, I pulled it off, but two, I kept saying throughout the event, it was way better than I could have ever anticipated. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but it was way better than I could have ever imagined. So I'm just blessed and grateful for that. But I think the other word that I keep going back and forth with is relatable. That from the get-go of this, I wanted, and you've all touched upon it, I wanted the speakers to be relatable. I did not want anybody to feel like the women attending or the women that were speaking were being put on a pedestal, because that's not what this was about. I wanted to bring people that I love and adore and showcase them and say, hey, they are just like the rest of us. They just have some information and knowledge that they can share with you that they've learned already, that could help either expedite or short circuit, get you through some of these rough patches, maybe a little bit faster or a little bit easier. And so, yeah, that was my biggest goal, I think, was to make sure that everybody that was speaking, you could see yourself in some way, shape, or form in them. And I think that the 8 women that were there, I felt like did that. So yeah, that would be, I guess, going back and forth between two words, but I love all these words. That's incredible. So I guess the next question that is begs for asking is, why did you decide to attend? And I mean, maybe it was just because you love me and I love you. But I would love.
Absolutely not. Sorry, Kelly. Don't give you that
Absolutely.
much credit. No, I'm just kidding.
Sam and
Peer
I have this
pressure.
love-hate relationship. We love to throw each other under the bus in the most loving way possible. So thanks, Sam. I know that you absolutely
welcome.
did not come for me. Thanks so much. But yeah, I mean, what was your rationale for, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to this event? Megan Hurley Powell, we're gonna start with you.
Sounds great. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, first and foremost, it was to support you. I wouldn't care what the theme was. It could have been Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to show up for you. I'm always going to show up for you. But no, I've been really like thinking a lot about this, and for me, it's honestly learning, right? I love learning. I love putting myself in positions to get new information, new perspective. I think no matter what the situation is or who is speaking or who you're learning from, there is a takeaway. You're going to get a takeaway. Or, a speaker might be saying something that you intuitively, objectively already knew, but they say it in a way that just hits home in a totally new way that you were like, I needed to be, here in this moment to hear it said that way. And later on, I can share what that piece of information is for me, because I know that that's a question coming up. But yeah, so it was about learning for me, absolutely. And I also was very much so thinking about how wellness isn't just a physical thing, right? Sometimes I think we think of it as a strictly physical thing, but there are mental, emotional, spiritual aspects of it. And I wanted to learn and to be able to get into this larger topic of wellness from so many different perspectives, right? Because I do have some goals, right? Some like wellness goals and stuff like that. And I think sometimes, for me personally anyway, I've failed at some wellness goals, like in a physical sense, because I wasn't tapping enough into the emotional, spiritual aspects of wellness. And I definitely walked away from the event with some information and just different things that spoke to those other aspects of it. So I just knew the event was going to be important to expand my understanding and skills and information on wellness and how all encompassing it can actually be.
I love that. Yeah. And to your point, that was one of the big drivers of this too, is I think a lot of us do just, I don't know, the way that we've grown up, society, but we naturally instinctively think health. Oh, yeah, it's like physicality, like the way that you look, what you do to support the physical nature of your body. But to your point, yeah, it's definitely all encompassing of mind, body, and soul. And um, driving that point home was also again part of this event that, yes, we can focus on that, and it is a piece to the puzzle, but it's not everything. So I love that. I love it. Megan Cartwright.
I'm glad you called on me because I would say my reasons for attending were kind of twofold. Aside from third reason is just because you were hosting it and Sam was putting a box together and like how could I not? But to piggyback on what Megan was saying, for me, I mean, I think I'm pretty consistent with a lot of healthy habits, but at the same time, I've been feeling really stuck recently. So I'm feeling like even though I might go through the motions or I've been doing what I think I should be doing or that has worked in the past, I've been feeling stuck or not getting the results. And by results, I don't necessarily mean like six pack or whatever. I mean like mental health results or just overall feeling aligned and feeling well. Um, I'm not getting those results that I've been looking for. So figuring out like just trying to be aware of different people that I may need to bring into my life, different approaches, different points of view, just like hearing things from a different perspective, like something's going to click and you're always going to get something out of even if it's hearing the same information but hearing it from a different person or different life experiences will maybe hit differently or will you never know what little tidbits of information are going to come out that will completely change your perspective and your mindset on whatever it is that you've been working on. And that's enough to get you off of that plateau, to get you unstuck and move on. So for me, that was a big driver. And the other point was connection. I mean, from our relationship as this group that we've fostered connection and over the last, what's it been, several years now, probably almost 4 years now that we've been um, connecting regularly, but virtual. Like we are, for those of people listening, like we don't all live in the same town. Like we are all over the place. I'm up in Canada and so on, and we can still have a really authentic and genuine connections. So, I know the type of people that you bring together in these environments, and I was looking for connecting more deeply with others who I already know, including some of the speakers, but also some of the participants, and then also getting to know some new people that I may not have crossed paths with, or even some of the speakers I know I may have read their book or I might follow them on social media, but do I really know them well? And what else can I learn from them? And how else could I connect with them? And especially in these days when it's hard to build friendships and genuine connections in person, having a virtual event like this that I know the type of relationships can be built virtually. Um, that was a big driver for me for joining.
I love that. And just want to say too, I can 100% relate to the um what you shared at the beginning, which is you feel like you're doing things but not getting the holistic results that you want to see. I feel that way as well right now, and one of the first things that came to mind when you started to share that was, and I know you just I think got to this point because you posted about it this morning on social media, but instinctively one of the first things I come back to from this event is Morgan when she asked us at the end to think about planning out one day. There were multiple things she asked us to do, but what's one day you can schedule something fun to do? And that has stuck with me. Like that is something, like when she said it was like, holy crap, like that's not hard to do. I mean, it can be if you're not used to doing that, but in terms of like the resources, you don't need anything. It's you. Go out
Yeah.
and take a walk if that's what's fun for you. Or, coloring book. I'm into, coloring books, so is Megan Hurley Powell. And whatever it is, or the Nintendo Switch, which Megan Hurley Powell also got me into. So yes, thank you very much. But those types of things, it's like it's the little things in life that can bring, and it sounds so cliche, but it is the truth. Like it truly is the little things that build up this incredible feeling in you. And I think once you get a taste of, having that day of fun, you're like, wow, I'm going to do that more often. Now maybe I'm going to do it once a week, or, once every other week, or whatever, whatever feels good to you. But I loved that about Morgan's talk. And so that made me think of that when you shared that, which is like, yeah, you can take these little bits and pieces. Again, the event was not meant for you to like, drink from a fire hose, like we have talked about so many times about other events, but it was to really take in what resonates with you. That's how my podcast is too. Take in what resonates and let the rest go. You don't need to, commit yourself to thinking, oh yeah, what she says is golden. I need to do this. It's like whatever feels good in the moment, whatever feels aligned in the moment for you, take that and run with it. And the rest, just let it be for now. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Sam.
So my reason for attending, I feel like, is actually more aligned to the topic of like the event itself. So yes, I attended to support you. And of course, I wanted to see everyone open their box and every item from the speaker. But if we've been connected for a little bit on social media, you'll know that I have moved and I bought a house. And so we closed on the house. And my husband and I have been trying to conceive for, we've been trying for a year now. And going into this summer, I coined it our Serenity Summer. And we're very much focusing on wellness and preventative and just like supporting us leading into the fall, as I'm a teacher. So going back to school is always something that spikes my cortisol, and I crash after that, and I want to set ourselves up for success. So when Kelly said, hey, I'm going to do this health and wellness event, the summit, and it's going to be during the summer, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to learn from women that are in this space. And whether it be like preventative or something that I like, really looking forward to taking things away from that experience of whether it helps me my fertility journey, like nothing that is going to be shared is going to harm my fertility journey, but also in like mindset, not just health, but like mindset can be like a really like strange thing to tackle, especially during this journey of like I never thought this would be my experience of trying to conceive for over a year now, right? So like I was really excited for this event itself and just so many different aspects of it, and all the speakers would bring a different spin to the health and wellness, and not just physical, not just mental, like it was all encompassing. So I was like, this is what I need, and it met my expectation and it went above, definitely.
I love that. Yay. And just maybe a little bit you wanted to be there with me, just maybe.
I did say that. I did say that I wanted,
No, I
besides
know.
being there to support you.
I know. I just put it there. Aubrey.
I think that with wellness, it's just such a cutting edge topic right now, because I think that it's just now starting to come to light, all of the diet culture that's been deeply ingrained in us since childbirth. And I never personally thought about, I mean, I did Beachbody from the age of 16 on. I've done it for so long in my life. And all those thoughts about it were just what I thought it was supposed to be like, and how I thought we were supposed to operate, and how we were supposed to lose weight this way. And you just plug in this formula and it's plug and play for every single person. And I'm just now starting to see how wrong that is, especially with hormonal changes as we get older. Things are not one size fits all for health and wellness anymore. And now that we're starting to realize that, it's interesting, I thought, to have 8 different perspectives on how people are not that they've reached the pinnacle of their journey, right? Because it's just a constant ebb and flow of this health and wellness that we're going to be coming into and out of and through all together. And so building that community around it and hearing these vulnerable stories of these women, and also getting insight into different things, like a couple of the other ladies have mentioned, different tips and things that we can try and see what might work for us, or maybe a combination of a couple of the speakers' ideas might work for us. But just seeing where we fit into our health and wellness journey is so important to me now, because I feel like when you take out the blueprint of everything that we've always done, the way that we've always done it, you're kind of left as a blank slate at that point. So you just want to get inspired and get some new knowledge so that you can try to figure out what your roadmap is actually going to be.
I love that it was a very refreshing perspective on health and wellness, because each and every one of them did not subscribe to the stereotypical, values that are put out there for, having a 6-pack or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like each and every one of them, you could clearly see, one, they were deeply passionate about what they were talking about, but two, they lived through experiences that taught them that invaluable things that not only one have shaped who they are and continue to, but also have taught them things that they can share, with us, to, like I said earlier, help us, maybe sidestep some of those barriers or roadblocks along our journeys, to achieving, what we want for our health and wellness. So I love that. Wow, you guys are just incredible. I just have to, just a side tangent here. This is Aubrey's first podcast. What the crap? She is like rocking it over here. Everybody's
No way. I don't believe that. Really?
right. Right. This is her first
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. She is just over here killing it. I love it. Okay, now one of my favorite questions to ask is, what was your favorite part or speaker from the event? If you could, and I know Megan Cartwright, you haven't gotten all the way through, so maybe, so far, what's your favorite part or speaker? But let's start with Aubrey. We'll go the other way.
So I guess my favorite part, and it's not something that was, again, new information like Megan Cartwright was saying, but it spoke to me in a different way, was that I kind of realized and stepped into, especially when, as you mentioned, Valerie had us have 6 words that describe ourselves. I kind of, I think, fed into what Morgan said also about finding things that you used to enjoy when you were smaller. I sort of came to a realization that I am a leader in this conference. And I guess I never so succinctly had said that to myself prior to this event. And when she was speaking about those 6 words, I just stepped into it and I was like, no, you've always been a leader. Like, what are you doing hiding behind this? You are a leader. You're leading people every day, and you need to continue this mission of being a leader and stop hiding your power and stop, dimming your light, and just step into that and really fully embody that. So I think that this event really opened my eyes to that. And I love the takeaway from the event when it changes and kind of shifts something inside of you. And that was just the most powerful takeaway for me.
I love that. And I just have to mention too, I mean, I know you shared with me during the event that you loved Val, but there were so many other parts of the event that other people were reaching out to that were attending, and they're like, oh my God, where did you find her? Or like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. Or like, I'm having these like light bulb moments. And it was just, I never anticipated, hearing those things, right? That for me is like probably where the unbelievable word that I mentioned earlier came from, because not in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would be getting messages from people saying like, oh my God, like this woman, I have to connect with her. Or this woman, is making me rethink things, or making me think about, my situation so much differently, or I connect with her on like a whole different level. That to me is just probably the best part of this. And I will just go real quick and say that for me, it wasn't an individual speaker or a specific part of the event. It was just all encompassing, like the people that were reaching out saying like, this person touched me in this way. So I love that. I love it. Sam, what about you?
I feel like there's so much. Like I wrote down I wrote down 3, and it's like hard to choose just one. Um so I'll start with like saying I loved that you curated this event in a way that it was small and intimate. And that being said, like especially when it comes to talking about health and wellness, it could be intimidating to be in an event that's like way large. And when like Megan Cartwright said about the community aspect of connecting with everybody, it's like you want to be in that small, intimate space where you feel comfortable in opening up, or also listening to the speakers open up and being in front of people and sharing like these really vulnerable stories. Um, every speaker had a story, and it was like every story was different, and you could also pinpoint and see part of yourself in their story, and it made it so relatable, where it was like I could relate to parts of Morgan's story with like working out and going through that journey, but then also I could connect to Crystal's story with her fertility. But then like there was all these different parts of their story that were like I know each and every person, every speaker that spoke, and there were parts of their story that I had no idea. And so I think it was because you created this platform in a way that was so intimate that it really shed light onto their story, and it just made it so relatable and really connected to that. Um, as far as my favorite part or my favorite speaker, I think the part that I had like a light bulb moment was when Natalie talked about the feminine energy versus the masculine energy. And in a way, like I knew obviously from reading her book that you operate in your masculine energy and you can operate in your feminine energy. But it wasn't until I don't know, it might have been Megan Hurley Powell who might have said something during the event, but it was like she was operating more in her feminine energy right now during summer for teachers, because even like when we're at work, and probably not just teachers can relate to this too, but when you're at work, you're more in your masculine energy because you're like, go, go, go. But then when you come home, and specifically in the summer, when we have like this downtime of like, okay, now I don't know what to do, we're in that feminine energy of like, we're not motivated. We don't know what to do. We've been like doing this, not this hustle, but like working her job. And there hasn't been like a fun, free, emotional time for us. And now we're just like 100% in feminine energy. So that was really interesting to like see, like, oh, no wonder why I plan all this stuff to do during the summer. And then I never get to doing what I actually want to do as a teacher. Cause you're like, I'm off. I have the whole summer. And then you're like, crap, I have to go back to school. I have to go back to work. And it's like, my goals of what I wanted to do didn't get done. And that's the reason why. Like it was just like a light bulb moment for me. And that was my favorite part.
I love that. Megan Cartwright.
Well, as we mentioned already, I'm only a little bit into it. To be honest, I've listened to 3 speakers. So not even halfway through, but to be honest, I think that's my favorite part. In that if this event had been in person, it would have been really challenging to get there, like to travel, the cost associated with it, having to commit ahead of time to a specific date. Like we're all busy, especially in the summer. Um, Part of the reason I missed it was I was up at my cottage and trying to take advantage of the summertime. Whereas being able to watch this as a recording, while I would totally have loved to have been there in person, and the energy is different, obviously, being like watching as a recording versus actually being there live. But at the same time, it means that I can do it in little, like, even though it was only a 2.5 hours each day, I can still do it in little half-hour chunks or one speaker at a time, fit it in the mornings or in the evenings, like it fitted in between everything. And while there's obviously those benefits from a cost and scheduling and just overall accessibility standpoint, I feel like it also kind of ties in with the whole wellness theme, because when we talk about wellness, like Aubrey was saying, is there's so much more to it than just here's a workout schedule, follow this calendar, and you will lose X pounds, and then therefore you will be quote unquote healthy. There's so much more to it. And I know for me, and I'm sure a lot of you identify with this too, is we got so much going on, and just trying to do it all or fit it all in, even if it's things that we want to be doing, is part of the wellness struggle. Like it's trying to squeeze all of how do you get enough sleep, the right foods, cooking at home, doing the workouts, getting like social time, like all of the different aspects of wellness. How do you fit it all in and still have energy or still actually be well?
Yeah.
So being able to have this virtually, first of all, makes it so much more accessible because like everybody who participated live would have been able to, carve out a couple, like 2.5 hours of their day each day. It's not even like a 5 hour chunk all at once. You probably, even through the event, were much more alert and able to focus and stay engaged than if you were trying to do like a full big day. But then also, like for those of us who do have to watch it as a recording, at least we can do it, and we're able to fit it in with all of these other things that we're doing, so that overall it's like it's aligned with our wellness journey, which is so exciting because I've been to those in-person events. I've enjoyed them. I mean, that's where I met all of you, I guess, in person for the first time. But there's pros and cons to each medium, and I'm really excited and, to be honest, really grateful for this opportunity to do it in this unique way, and I think I'm going to get more out of it. um it also gives you time to like digest the information. I feel like you alluded to it earlier, the idea of like drinking from a fire hose. Like there's just, when you're at a 1 day event or a 2 day event, it's like overwhelming how much you're doing. And as an introvert, also, I find it hard to be like peopling all day and trying to do, um, like personal reflection and growth. And, like Sam said, trying to be vulnerable in a big group or even just being vulnerable in person. Like sometimes you need to process those emotions and thoughts for a minute before you want to go and cry in front of a whole bunch of people you've never met before and so on. Like, so this like this format is, I think, is so far my favorite part of it. Not to take away from any of the actual value, that like the content and stuff, but I just feel like it's going to be so much more sustainable and practical and actionable because of the format.
I love that. And to your point, I feel like, I mean, I don't know other than you, because you have obviously shared with me and with us. I don't know if anybody else had that wasn't able to attend live has taken the approach that you have, where like you are truly doing it in like, 30-minute chunks or what have you. But I'm really curious to see like when you get to the end of, the second day, like how that all comes together for you. And just it'll be cool to
Hmm.
our experiences and share them alongside yours, because to your point, you are able to take it like in a much slower pace. Not to say that, those of us who attended live, we can also go back and do that too, but it'd be different because we've gone through the whole thing to its entirety, like from start to finish with no break. And so going back through it, incrementally, we already know what's coming, but for you, this is like, you have no clue what's coming until you take it step by step. And I love that part about it too. To your point, you get to take it at your own pace and really have more of that reflection time built in because, you might be only listening to a speaker a day or, something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
The other aspect, Kelly, is with doing it both virtually and paced out a little bit is I really love the tie-in with the boxes because I have not gone ahead and opened everything ahead of time. Like I am everything, like for those listening, like the boxes have number, like everything's wrapped individually and have numbers on them. So as the speakers went through, they said, okay, pull out number 1, pull out number 2, and so on. So it's been fun because, and that's, I think what also makes it fun is this is not just rewatching some recording of a corporate presentation that you had to watch as part of work that you just missed because it was through dinner or something. Like this, I feel like I'm engaged. I feel like I'm, there's something like I want to watch the next. It's like binge watching your favorite show. It's like I want to watch the next episode because not only is I know there's great content, but like there's physically, like there's a box sitting right here on my shelves that has a whole bunch of unwrapped presents. So it's like your birthday or Christmas morning and you're like sitting there looking at all of these wrapped presents, but you can't open them until you get to that point in the workshop. So there's motivation and excitement and so on. And I feel kind of nerdy saying all of that, but like I'm excited to jump on Zoom tonight and watch another another speaker. And I paused it last night, paused it while I was folding laundry and went and like ran up to get my next present and stuff that I got to open. So it's a really fun experience.
I love that. And yeah, it's like Christmas in July is what I equate it to. Um, and Megan is one of those people in which was probably on Santa's nice list, right? But me, on the other hand, as Sam knows, will always be on the naughty list because I always open the gifts ahead of time. I cannot wait. So props to you for holding on as long as you have, because there is no way I would have been able to have that much self-restraint moving forward through that process. Props to you.
It's a good thing I was muted because, and I don't know, are people going to be able to see our faces, Kelly? But Megan Hurley Powell is laughing as Megan Cartwright is talking about comparing it to like a corporate thing that you had to like rewatch at home, or like we're just dying laughing.
Hey, you know what? Megan Cartwright tells it like it is. And also, I have to just go back a step and say that the drinking from a fire hose, I will always associate with Aubrey. Always. Because I think she's the first one. I mean, I knew of that phrase, but I think she's like the first one that shared that with me way back when, we all started getting into this stuff. And I was like, yep. Every time I think of that, I think of Aubrey. So I love it. All right, MPH.
My favorite part of the event is that I could go pee whenever I wanted to go pee and I didn't miss a dang thing. No, but for real, that was like, I know I'm being funny, but that actually seriously was awesome. Like that's one of the benefits of being virtual. Like there were times where I was like, I want some more coffee. So I just picked up my computer and I walked it with me to go, make more coffee, and you didn't miss a beat, which was actually really cool. And like part of the testament to it being virtual and just the benefit of it being virtual. I absolutely love that. But as far as my favorite speaker or like other favorite part of it, like it's so hard to identify one person. I mean, it's the collective experience of like everybody. But I will say one of the powerful sticking points for me was the sound bath, because of the image that I got at the end. right? And I voice memoed you about this, Kelly. It's like makes me very like emotional. And I wasn't able to stay in the sound bath the whole time. Like it was a very like in and out kind of a thing for me. I wasn't able to stay fully in the meditation or experience the whole time. But the image that came to me at the end was the most powerful because 2024, I picked 4 words for 2024. And 3 of those words are light, ease, and joy. And the image that came to me at the end was just this light and playful version of me that's like whirling and twirling and basking like in the sun, and is just, it just sort of confirmed for me that I'm on the right track. You know, I'm on the right track with pulling back from my business. I'm on the right track with how much I have ferociously made mental health a priority. How ferociously committed I am to rest and being a human, right? It just was this beautiful image that honestly also doesn't feel that far away for me, too, which was really, really fun. And then in addition to that, my husband and I are at the very, very beginnings of starting our adoption journey. And so part of, that image at the very end, not just a version of me wearing this beautiful green dress and just whirling and twirling and being so light and joyful and happy, but it's like I had this picture of me like turning around, and then in my arms is my future daughter, right? And like I get to teach her all these things about like being enough, all these things about finding your own inner self-worth. And it was just such a cool image. And that for me was one of my favorite parts, because everything I'm doing now is getting me closer to that image in real life.
I love that. And I don't know what the hell I said. MPH. How about MHP? Because I can't read. But I love that because I remember when you first reached out to me and shared that. And that's something for me. Like I've been in sound baths before and I've never had that type of experience, but you're not the first person to share with me, not from that event, but from other sound baths that they've had similar types of experiences where they visualize, things that are going to happen in the future. And it's always fascinating to me to hear those things, because it's like it's the next step. It's like what's coming, you can see it, and it's also like, at least for me, it renews your faith in like that divine timing is taking its course, and everything is going to happen and work out in the way that it's supposed to. So I love that. And you got me emotional when you first shared that with me. Oh my gosh. Like how cool is that you experienced that? So I love that. All right, Sam, now we're going to talk about the box. The Christmas in July box. So, Sam, can you start us off by just like sharing your thoughts behind the box? Like share with the listeners why you felt it would be good for us to have a box at the event, and then, if you've got something that you felt was your most favorite part of the box, then please by all means share that too.
Yeah. The creation of the box idea was really when Kelly said that she wanted to do this virtual event. And anytime that we've gone to events, all 5 of us together, there's always like an extra component where it's like a swag bag. And you like look forward to that bag. You're like, oh, I wonder what's in the swag bag, whether it's like a VIP, which is a different bag, or just like a regular swag bag. It's always cool to see like what's in it. And we kind of took that as a twist because this is a virtual event. And as a virtual event, you wouldn't get or receive that swag bag. And we're like, well, I had this idea because I'd seen it from somebody else who done a virtual event, and it was during COVID, during 2020, and they wanted to have this interactive component. And the component was where you had like something to open physically for the speaker, and you weren't allowed to open it until the day of the event, and it was like very secretive, if you could say. So I was like, well, why don't we do that with your event, Kelly? Like, why don't we create this wellness kit that goes to everybody's doorstep. You feel connected in that community aspect of we all have this wellness kit, and it complements and really supports the speakers. And so you're like, yeah, I'm going to have the speakers choose something that they going to contribute to the box. And it was nothing that was like tchotchke or something that you wouldn't use, right? It was intentional behind the event itself. So every speaker had to choose something, and they put it in the event and put it in the box. And then when you would go to open the box, everything was wrapped, right? So I was like, Kelly, can I just put everything in the box? And she's like, no, I want it to be wrapped so that way you couldn't see what's in it. And everything was numbered for the speakers. And so it was like a whole process in opening the box. My favorite part, as you guys are all like dying laughing, my favorite part was probably JC's contribution. It was I think Megan Carter, you've gotten to that, right? Okay. I don't want to like ruin
Don't
things.
spoil it.
I won't.
I know it's
but
like Christmas and you're gonna tell me.
yeah,
No,
I know.
JC's,
Okay,
I've
so
opened JC's.
I'll say it was JC's choice that she put in the box, and so practical. Can I say what it is, Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is it's a intention cards, but it's not like actual like a deck of cards. It's a bifold that flips open, and there's 3 separate like statements, like whether it's affirmations, something that you can read all the time. Like I'm going to put it probably in my bathroom. And so I'm going to, read one of them a day, and it's for every single week. So there's 12 weeks of 3 sets, 3 different affirmations, and you just flip through them and you can keep going. And I am obsessed. I think it's good. It's like it's definitely my favorite from the box itself. But there's a lot of good stuff in the box, but like I said, like I really liked the component of creating it from like the creator standpoint. And because I knew everything that's in the box, it's a different experience for me versus everybody else to go through that. So I'm curious to see what your guys' experience was with it.
And just a plug for Sam, if you are interested in creating a box for any type of event, any type of situation, even, I mean, like, I'm thinking, I'm not going to speak for you, but maybe, I don't know, you would be interested in doing like, not just like entrepreneurial events, but maybe also, I don't know, maybe like bachelorette parties or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sam is your girl, because I mean, the sky's the limit. You think that she can't get something? There was way back when a llama pen that I wanted, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll source that llama pen," and she put that not in this box, but in another box, and it's like, "There's the llama pen. Now I got a llama pen that I love." So, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, any coaches, any people putting on events, or you want to send like a welcome package to your clients, or like bachelorette parties, swag bags for events, retreats, or even like holiday gifts. And it doesn't even have to be like a physical box. Like some people get caught up in that, and it could be like a bag. It could be really anything that I can help curate. But Kelly, I want to go back to the other component of the box, which was you had sponsors you had samples from other companies, from other small businesses, and Samine is a PMS gummy that they make, and it was phenomenal. Like I know we didn't really get a chance to like talk too much about like the free things that were in there separate from the speakers, but it was loaded with stuff. And those PMS gummies, I just want to say that I used 2 of them, and like that, no cramping, nothing. It was phenomenal, and they taste delicious.
They absolutely do. So, yep, I love that. And they clearly made it through customs for Megan. So, yay.
Yes, because there's nothing like crazy in it, just all herbs.
That's great. I love it. Megan Cartwright, do you want to share yours?
Honestly, like I love hearing Sam's perspective because my perspective so far, the best part is the surprise. Like is the fact like, and I know that must have been a lot of extra effort to wrap everything individually and so on, but it goes back to the intentionality and of the whole event and how unique this is that it's not just like you didn't just throw things together quickly. You had everything laid out for a purpose and it built the energy and built the event. It's not just like anybody could throw together a swag bag, but having it intentionally linked with each of the each of the like speakers, having something specific to them that they've picked out, having like even just having those linked with what they're talking about, having a physical um like reminder of what they've spoken of links it all together, and then just honestly like I said earlier, the whole Christmas morning birthday type aspect of it, it's fun. It makes it so that a virtual event is not just the stereotypical like droning on and like watching some PowerPoint slideshow. Like there is a very interactive element to it. So love it. I really appreciate the extra effort from both of you, and from the speakers that everybody put in to get this to us. So
And
awesome.
I wanna just jump into like piggybacking off of all of that. Like, not it was also for me just like all about the Christmas morning stuff as well. But it was also like the connection to everybody on the call, right? As you know, every speaker's like, okay, now grab package number whatever, right? And it was all like we were in this together. And then you look on the screen and everybody is opening their package at the same time, right? And it was just so much fun to be able to do that together. And for me, as an anxiety girly, sometimes those swag bags, as amazing as they are, they can be overwhelming. And it was really awesome to just do it one at a time. Again, going back to Aubrey's word, it was the intentionality of it, right? Like it was just so awesome.
I love that. Okay, so let's chat about, I'm going to kind of reverse things here because I would like for us to end on, what would you tell the women that maybe thought about attending but didn't or are thinking of attending next year? So we'll get to that in a moment. But if there's anything that you haven't already shared that you want to share now related to like what are some takeaways that you've gotten from this event that you're going to utilize moving forward to support your health and wellness, I would love for us this just open whoever wants to share. If there's nothing else that you want to share, that's fine too, but I want to just give everybody a moment to, if there is something, to share that before we wrap things up. And yeah, okay, Megan. Oh,
Okay. So for me, like, okay, so speaking specifically to the woman who, is feeling FOMO, like missed out on this event and wants to go next time, you not only like, here's the reason why you should attend the next event. So you're not only going to walk away from the event with the knowledge and the hype and the connection and the tactical things to implement into your life when it comes to wellness, but you also received, like we've been talking about, such thoughtful and amazing gifts to also use and incorporate into your life in some way to enhance your wellness, right? It was just absolutely incredible. And as far as takeaways, I really, really want to share this exact quote. It came from Savannah, one of the speakers. And I had mentioned way earlier back at the beginning of this conversation that this is something that I already knew, but the way that she said it was just so good. I want to like create like a poster on Canva and frame it and stick it on a wall because it's just so good. She said, habits can fail if your belief doesn't support it. And that for me was just like, it's like that's worth the price of admission. It's like done deal. Like I needed to go and hear that. Like I took away something, like everything from I took away something from every single speaker, but that for me was like the gold medal, because I think when it comes to wellness, or when it comes to, doing things, you can have a habit, but that habit is going to fail or it's going to fall off or you're going to feel some negative, icky way about it if your belief, the mindset portion behind it isn't in sync or matching up. And I really, really needed to hear that, not just in the wellness aspect of my life, but just for life in general.
I love that. Aubrey, any last minute thoughts on like what you took away and are going to utilize moving forward? And then also, yeah, feel free to share like what you would tell the woman who's thinking about attending potentially next year.
So for me, I think that I also came to this event for a sense of community and building that community. And I wonder if some women might have felt unsure about attending a virtual event because they weren't sure about the community aspect of it and that thought that maybe a live event would provide that a little bit more. But I think if we really dig down in ourselves and we think about those live events that we've attended before and people that we met kind of on the peripheral, did we keep in touch with them? Did we actually make that effort to make sure that those connections were established over time? Or did we just meet somebody that was cool? We talked to them for a couple days and then they disappeared out of our lives forever. So I think that with this event, I've challenged myself to try to keep in touch, not only with some of the speakers, but also we've made connections with some of the attendees of the event because it was a more intimate, smaller event. And it puts that effort on us that we have to be the ones to make those connections, which that effort was always there before, but we just always thought that these friends would just fall into our laps by attending an event. You're putting yourself in the room, so all these friends are just going to come at me and they're going to be in my life forever and be part of it. But that's not the reality of the situation. It's I'm here to make that connection, and you're curating an event that allows us to have these really interesting and intriguing people that are there. And you've provided us all with the contact information of all the people that were there and the speakers and everything. So it's like, you go forth and you make your friends now and you make these connections now.
I love
Mic drop moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Aubrey, like, boom.
two pieces of gold from Megan and then from you, Aubrey. I mean, I want to just say to that too that yeah, I noticed in the chat, as speakers were speaking, the way in which people were connecting with each other and the speakers was just like everybody was very vulnerable. Even as I said earlier, the speakers were very vulnerable in what they shared. You could tell that like so for some of them, this is the first time they were sharing some of those things to like an audience. And so I love that the space was a safe space for everybody to feel welcomed and accepted and to allow themselves to open up in the way that many did. So I love that. I love it. Sam, I mean, I don't know, can you?
Yeah, my last takeaway, and I actually just remembered while you guys were speaking, so thank you for that like moment of like processing and thinking. This is something that I absolutely hate, and I'm gonna like spin it back. So anytime people talk about mindset and like, oh, it's in the mindset and doing the work and like I'm doing an event and it's all about mindset, I hate that because it's just like, okay, you don't really have anything to offer. It's just like this mindset of like sometimes it could be just like garbage. Like the advice that people provide for mindset, like I'm just putting it out there, it's just like not good. It's just like willpower it away. And you're like, like this, you're not offering anything different than what I already know and do. And so it's like I went into this event hoping to like really get into my wellness and my like helping with my fertility journey. I'm like, maybe they're going to give me like meal prepping or like they're going to give me like these tangible tips that I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I need. But what caught me off guard was this stupid mindset piece that somebody said. And it pissed me off to the point where I was like, I don't need mindset. I hate this because anytime people talk about it, I'm like, no, like that's garbage. Let me throw that out the window. And now let me talk about like the strategy for meal prepping. Like that's usually my go-to. But I was like, oh shit, I got put on my butt with this quote. And I don't know if it was, I want to say it was JC, but if it's not, it was somebody else. Where it was like, you have all of these pieces. So it's like talking about the house and like the foundation and like the walls and the roof it was JC, right? Like I'm pretty sure it was JC.
Oh,
No, you think okay, I don't know. But it was talking about like having all of these physical pieces. So like your meal prepping is like the foundation, your walls of your house is like your job or like your like all these different actual strategies and components, but the mindset piece is the glue or the screws or the nails that hold the house together. And I'm like, oh yeah. And like without, even if you have all these pieces, without the mindset component of like, let's put it together, it's not going to serve a purpose. And it brings me back to like the Olympics is on right now and Simone Biles is competing, and it like went back to she has the skill, she has all of those pieces to build her house, but the mindset and her like the twisties that happened when she's competing all got just like crashing down on her and she wasn't able to compete, and now this is called her like comeback Olympics, and it was just a really good component of like knocking me off my butt and being like, no, Sam, it's not just about having those strategies and those physical pieces. It's like, how do you stick it together? And the mindset of like the glue, the screws, the nails is what's holding everything together. I was like, oh, you need that mindset piece. Damn.
I love that. And we've chatted, I think, a little bit about this earlier too, in that this event was not like, to your point, you said it too, it was not, here, let me give you a cookie cutter plan to follow for, different aspects of wellness. It was thought-provoking questions from every single one of the speakers to put it back on you. To Aubrey's point, yes, to put it back on you in terms of connecting with people, but also to put it back on you in terms of how are you going to use this information? Like, how is this going to impact your life moving forward? What does your next steps look like? Because it's not going to look like the person sitting next to you's next steps, right? And nor should it be. So I love that. I just, again, this event was even better than I could have ever imagined. And I can't not take a moment to say thank you to all of you, to the three of you. Megan Cartwright was here. She's got some business to attend to, but the four of you have just been instrumental to this becoming the reality that it was, because I did share with the four of you, and throughout the entire process, even the days where I was like, and maybe we're not going to do this. Maybe I don't, maybe I'm not capable, or I don't have the stamina or the bandwidth to do this. You four were constantly like, no, we believe in this. We want to support you. We want to brainstorm with you. And that, ladies, if you're watching or listening or both, that is who you want to surround yourself with. Like, if you don't have those type of women in your life, you need to find them, because I will forever be grateful for the four women literally in front of me on the screen and figuratively off the screen too. Because you guys have just been not only my ride or dies through this, but I feel like I can share, apart from the event, I can share anything with you and you will support me, and you don't look at me any different in terms of the way that I perceive a situation, or the way in which I feel about things happening in my life or in others. So I just want to thank you for being here with me today, for being at the event. I'm so glad that you were all there, and I'm looking forward to next year. We've alluded to that, yes, this is going to happen on an annual basis, so I'm looking forward to next year, and we're already starting to plan for that, so I'm excited to share more as will come out in due time. But just thank you, ladies. Yes.
I do. I have to say here, Kelly, like the words that you keep using to describe this event and this entire experience is unbelievable and incredible, right? And I just want you to know, as your friend, as one of your ride or dies, that the reason it was so incredible and unbelievable is because you were the common denominator. Like, I'm gonna start like getting emotional right now. Like, I might cry. But like, you you know, you are the ultimate hype woman, the ultimate girl's girl, and all of these women showed up to speak because it's you, right? The amount of authenticity, the amount of fire, the amount of effort people put into their keynotes and showed up and just did what they did and brought all that fire is because of you. So, you know, don't don't shortchange yourself. We love you so stinking much. You are just incredible.
That's what I'm talking about. That right there. These women are just incredible because again, I would do if and when you all have your own events or whatever it is, you know, they know that I will be there for them regardless. Like I'm in it for the long run. Until my last breath, you've got me. So like I just want to thank all of you for believing in me. Thank you for reminding me that, you know, I need to give myself some credit because it's very easy to not do that when you're building something like this. But just thank you. That I so appreciate that. You guys are the best. I love you.
And if you're just going based off of this one event, Kelly, it's going to be even more incredible on the next one. So for the woman who missed out on this one or wasn't sure, maybe doubting herself, just do it for the next one. Like we promise you, like Kelly is the most authentic person, and she worked with people who were like, I really want to come to the event, but I can't afford to pay you like everything up front right now. Like Kelly was just so willing to work with everybody, and that's also another that's just you. So we just love you.
Well, I love all of you. Stop this.